A woman named Sarah had everything one could wish for: a luxurious life, a rich husband named John, and 3 beautiful children. Her existence was an embodiment of opulence, or so it seemed. One fateful day, the facade of Sarah's charmed life began to crumble. She was admitted to the hospital, her kidneys failing her and her once vibrant health waning. The diagnosis was grim, and the only hope for her survival was a kidney transplant. But there was a heartbreaking twist to the tale. Her own children, her flesh and blood, had refused to be her saviors. They cited various excuses, from busy lives to fear of surgery, leaving Sarah in disbelief and agony. She felt the weight of their betrayal like a dagger to her heart. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah's condition grew worse. She felt utterly alone and abandoned, and it was then that a glimmer of hope appeared. A young man with kind eyes and a compassionate heart walked into the hospital. He had read about Sarah's plight in a newsletter, a desperate cry for help from a mother who needed a lifeline. This young man, however, held a secret that would change the course of Sarah's life forever. He was none other than the son she had left behind with her ex-husband, Mike, more than 2 decades ago. She had chosen to abandon him because Mike was poor, and she had sought the allure of wealth and luxury. Mike, despite the challenges, had raised their son with love and care, instilling in him the values of empathy and compassion. When he saw the desperate plea for a kidney donation in the newspaper, he knew that this was his son's chance to meet the mother he had never known. The boy, knowing the truth of his heritage and the severity of his mother's condition, decided to save her. He quietly made his way to the hospital, filled with determination and a sense of responsibility. Sarah had no idea that the young man who had come forward to save her was her own flesh and blood. The surgery was successful, and Sarah survived the ordeal. She was overwhelmed with gratitude and curiosity about the person who had given her a second chance at life. As she lay in her hospital bed, recovering from the operation, she turned to her husband John, who had remained by her side through it all, and asked, "Were they my children? Did they change their minds and save me?" John, a wealthy man, saw an opportunity to keep up appearances and hide the painful truth. He shook his head gently and replied, "No, my love. It wasn't our children who saved you. It was a young boy, a stranger, who came forward to save your life." Sarah felt a mix of relief and disappointment. She had expected her children to come to her rescue, but the bond between them seemed to have fractured beyond repair. She longed to meet the young boy who had saved her but was unaware of the profound connection they shared. Over the following weeks, Sarah's health steadily improved. She couldn't help but wonder about the mysterious young man who had saved her life. She wanted to express her gratitude and build a connection with the person who had been her lifeline. John, for his part, kept his secret safe, shielding their family's reputation. One day, the young man she was so eager to meet invited her to his modest apartment. She agreed, grateful for the opportunity to thank him in person. As she stepped into his home, she was struck by the simplicity of his life. It was a stark contrast to the opulence she was used to, and she was deeply moved by his humility and kindness. As they sat down to talk, Sarah noticed a picture on the wall. It was a family portrait of a young boy with his father. The boy bore a striking resemblance to herself, with her own eyes and smile. She gasped as realization hit her like a bolt of lightning. Tears welled up in her eyes. She reached out to touch the young man's face, her hand trembling as she spoke the words that would change their lives forever. You are my son, aren't you?" The young man nodded, tears glistening in his eyes. "Yes, Mom, I am your son, the one you left with Dad so many years ago." Sarah burst into tears, a flood of emotions overwhelming her. She had left her own child behind in pursuit of wealth and luxury, never once looking back. Now, the son she had abandoned had saved her life, not once revealing his true identity. In that moment, the pain of the past was overshadowed by the love and forgiveness that washed over them. Sarah and her son embraced, their tears of joy mingling with tears of sorrow. The distance and time that had separated them for so long seemed insignificant compared to the unbreakable bond of a mother and her child. From that day forward, Sarah reevaluated her priorities. She realized that her pursuit of material wealth had led her down a path of emptiness and regret. Her son, raised by Mike with love and values, had become the embodiment of the compassion and kindness she had lost sight of in her relentless quest for affluence. As mother and son mended their relationship, they also found a new family in Mike, who had never spoken ill of Sarah in front of their son. Together, they became a testament to the power of forgiveness and the strength of love to overcome even the deepest of wounds.